very disturbing commercial
Yeah.
yesterday with children, and it was talking about ADHD, and it showed a kid that was not paying attention in class.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then they introduce this medication.
Mm.
And then you have the child raising their hand, and then you have everyone clapping,
Oh
and you
my
have the
God.
child with a big smile on their face, and you've medicated your child to be a successful and integrated person in society.
Shall I spot off about ADHD for a minute?
Yes, please.
That was my first book on ADHD. It's the American Scattered Minds, depending on which edition you get. And that was after I was diagnosed with it myself in my 50s.
What does it mean? What is it exactly?
The medical profession and a lot of the so-called experts think about it as a disease. They say it's the most heritable mental illness there is. And I say it's neither an illness nor is it heritable. So the hallmark are difficulty paying attention when you're not motivated.
Yeah.
So kind of tuning out, like that kid in the commercial. Poor impulse control, so that you tend to act out whatever emotion arises.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the hyperactivity, difficulty sitting still and having to fidget and all that. And that described me to a T. But as soon as I learned about the diagnosis, I knew something. This is not a disease, and it's not heritable, despite the fact that some of my kids were diagnosed with it. What is it? So tuning out is not a disease. If I were to stress you right now, create stress, emotional difficulty or tension for you right now, what would be your options of dealing with that, of dealing with me? What would be your options?
I could either get upset or I could leave.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You could fight back, flight or fight, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
But what if you didn't have those options?
Yeah. Then you're stuck.
And now what does the brain do when you're stuck like that?
Gets distracted.
It gets tunes out.
Yeah, it tunes out. You want to do other things, think about other things.
In other words, it's a coping mechanism.
Yeah. It's
No.
normal. I mean, the idea that your child, who is, an 8-9-year-old ball of energy filled with, hormones and life and thoughts and things they enjoy, and then you make them sit down all day in this unnatural state in a classroom with fluorescent lights and stare at a teacher that's unmotivated and underpaid and is teaching something in a very boring and non-entertaining way.
Yeah.
And that if this kid doesn't lock in like a zombie, we need to medicate them.
Yeah, well, the other part of it is that infants can't help but absorb the stress of their parents.
Right.
They can't help it. What does an infant do? Could I have escaped or fought back? Could you have? All we could do is tune out.
Yes.
But when is this tuning out happening? When our brain is being developed.
Right.
And our brain, this is the part that nobody taught me in medical school, but it turns out that brain science now teaches us that the human brain develops under the impact of the environment. So the most salient feature of the environment that shapes the circuits of the human brain is actually the relationship with the parents. And if the parents are present and emotionally attuned and available, the child brains develop properly. But the parents are stressed, the child